where everything went well. Uh,
Oh,
so yeah, good afternoon, good morning. Yeah, good wonderful afternoon, at least from Oslo here. And welcome
oh,
to another episode of Everything Outside Code. Today I have Megha Arora joining us to have wonderful conversations, obviously, not on the engineering bits, but all the difficult bits founders, creators, find difficult. So from marketing, sales, expansion, growth, all that kind of stuff. A lot of people like myself find it fun. So I thought to, speak to Megha today. Could you say hi to everyone listening, Megha?
sure, William. Thank you for having me here. Hi, I'm Megha Arora, and I'm founder of DevRelSquad. And today I'm very lucky to be talking to William. And it's a good night from where I am located, Hyderabad, India. But I'm pretty excited. It feels like I'm just starting my day. So, yeah, over to you.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful energy. Thank you very much for coming on. For anyone listening, feel free to ask any questions whatsoever. Today, we're going to be talking about developer relations. If you are a software engineer in the SaaS space, you probably have heard of developer relations and developer advocates. We're going to also be talking about Asia Pacific expansion there, what growth looks like, what the community looks like. I don't know. I only see and hear. So it'd be nice to hear firsthand from Megan as an expert in the region. So leave a comment and ask any questions if you do have them, either on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever you're listening to this from. So over to you, Miga. Could you tell us how you got here? What did you used to do, and how did you work your way up to becoming founder of DevRelSquad?
Sure, it's a long story, but I'll put it in
Okay.
shorter stance. So I have around 13 years of engineering experience. I worked with a few companies. I started my career right out after college. So I was into electronics and communication engineering. As you,
Mm-hmm.
William was saying, he's a self-taught engineer, but in
Yeah.
India, uh, mostly people are doing engineering like bachelor's of technology, and I did the similar thing, similar
Mm-hmm.
route. I passed out in 2010, and after that I had a few couple of offers, and then I started my journey with Samsung. I was there for about 2 years. And Samsung was my first company where I went on site. I had the chance of meeting South Koreans. I stayed there for 6 months, so I understood that okay, there's another world outside India, and people are very different. And that's where I okay, something like no religion exists, something like so. My perspective changed, and then I moved into a startup kind of culture, make my trip at that time. And it is like travel and tourism, just like something like Expedia, but Indian Expedia.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lot there. I was fixing mostly bugs, but then I started building things end to end, and I got that perspective. I became a better software engineer, and then I moved to a consulting company, Sapient. From there, couple of years again, and I started. I came to know how to convince clients. You will build something, because I was in investment banking. So you will build something, but you have to convince people to actually buy that or use that. So because I was into a services publicity, so I think my devrel my devrel avatar started from there. And then after Sapient, I went to Microsoft 4 years. I learned a lot, like I learned the learn it all mindset. So I was
Yeah.
like, I can never know everything, and I have to learn everything. Like I have to keep learning every day. So
Yeah.
that mindset came into me. And then Microsoft was a long rickety journey. From Java tech stack, I moved to .NET tech stack. I actually understood that I'm not a Java developer, or not a .NET developer, or not a
Mm-hmm.
JavaScript developer or Python developer. I am a software engineer, and I need to do everything, and whatever the situation demands, and I need to understand more from the customer's perspective. So
Mm-hmm.
that is where I groomed, and then I joined Apple as a tech lead. I was there for another 1.5 years. Understood how to lead people. I understood how to. It's like harder to manage people, or dealing with people than dealing with code. So
Yeah.
understood that. And after Apple, I was like, just going about my life, and one recruiter called and they were like, will you like to be a developer advocate? And I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
So I did not know that. I'm talking
Hmm.
about back into 2021. I did not know what is a developer advocate. So then they explained me. You will have a little bit of teaching. You will have a travel. You will have engineering, because you will be building demos. You will be writing content. You will be doing videos. So I was like, okay, let me give it a try. And then I had a couple of rounds, and I became the first developer advocate for Asia Pacific region for MongoDB. And then about 2 years there, I started leading a team as well, one person in Singapore and one person in India reporting into me. And post that, something happened, and I just realized that I want to take it out as a consulting firm. And then while building the consulting, within first 1 or 2 weeks, I realized that I should build a product, getting generative AI into DevRel, and then I am also trying out other avenues. So
Yeah.
that is how I got there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's like wealth of experience from Apple to Microsoft. I think the only one left out of like the big four is probably Google or Netflix. Those are the only
Netflix,
ones.
I from India, but yeah, Google is definitely left. I have been
Yeah.
rejected a lot of times from Google.
From Google. You replace Netflix with Samsung. Yeah.
uh,
That's
no, we cannot replace Samsung.
that's
But
yeah,
Samsung was
that's
yeah, another kind of experience. Yeah, good experience
yeah.
there as well.
And you mentioned investment banking. Like
Yes.
what was that? Like what did you do
UBS.
there?
UBS. So there we were working on a greenfield project where we wanted to have some stock listing, and whatever the investors or the back office was doing manually, we were trying to build something for them. But the
Okay.
harder part was not building the project. Harder part was convincing them that this will really help you. So
Aha.
that is why I say that is when devrel avatar came into me, that okay,
Started.
you have
Yeah.
to sell your product in the hindsight, or you have to explain that this will
Oh,
really help you.
yeah. So what was the biggest challenge with convincing them?
I
Like
think the
what
biggest
if you
challenge
look back at it now?
I think I can answer that. So when I was talking to investment bankers, or even back office analyst, when we were with that investment bank, and I was with Publicis Sapient as a service company, so they did not want to move, even if it's taking longer time. And I think it happens in all the. I've spoken to so many engineers. If people are like used to Excel, so they don't want to
Hmm.
move to a better tool, even if it's using generative AI, even if it gives a lot of suggestions to them. However, now Excel has also a lot of generative AI into it, but still they don't want to move because they are used to doing something in a certain specific way. So apart from engineers, or I think we as engineers are blessed, because a lot of people teach us that you have to learn and you have to adapt every day. But a lot of
Yeah.
other professions, they don't want to adapt or change.
Yeah.
So that's where you have to explain them that okay, you are doing this and this is taking this much time, and if you do this, this will take lesser time. And if you can prove them, then
Hmm.
only you do. And I think that is what developer advocacy as well is, to
Yeah.
prove them will help you.
Yeah. That makes a whole lot of sense because I remember someone talking about them going to fix the the teller, the counter, the machine you get behind like either like, I think it was a grocery store, um, and they wanted to ship like a brand new system, and they did, and everyone hated it. Right? They went from a system that was from like the 80s to like latest, and they asked why. Like this is like latest stuff. It's touch screen. You don't have to do so much. And then
Right.
the cashiers explained that they've spent the last what 4 or 5 years. They can close their eyes and punch in stuff on the old one, right? They
Yes.
already know where everything is. Even
Yes.
I see like the keyboards they use, they would normally print like items, like item numbers on them and item names. Even though the item names are gone, they still know what item is where and they can punch it. But then this guy brings in like a brand new system and they're like, so what are we going to do with this? They were so much slower. and they just hated it. So I guess there has to be some middle ground. I don't know what that looks like. Maybe some progressive offboarding from the older system and onboarding to the newer one. I'm
Right.
just curious as to how people have done that, because I know I see modern systems in some like stores and establishments. I just don't
Right.
know how they made that change.
Yeah, I think I resonate with you. Yes, it's like we need to find some middle ground, because yes, if they are so adapted to it, they might be taking
Hmm.
lesser time with the older way and
Yeah,
longer with the newer way. So I think
yeah,
a mix of diversity in the workforce can definitely get us to a middle ground, because what will happen is,
yeah.
like, if everyone is of the same age group or same same kind of background, very similar to each other, so if one hates the software, they all hate or software or any new kind of way of doing it. If there is
Hmm.
diversity in the workforce, then people can convince each other, because they are part of one team. So if one
Yeah.
person is to adapt, then the other. That is how I think we have we I mean, I could see that that is one of the potential solutions. However, I've also seen people not using a system. Like, investment banking is a very good example, where people build products, but it takes 10 years even to decommission a single system, so they don't move. So
Wow.
yes, kind of things has happened. And I've also heard that some of the investment banks still work on Java 1.3, or 1. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yes, I heard that. So that's also there, because they cannot move. There's a very high risk, and team is not adapted. A lot of old people, when I say old, not in age but in experience with those systems. But if
Yeah.
you have new people coming in after every few months, right, or few years,
Hmm.
then I think the team dynamics would lead towards change.
Yeah. Yeah. I
uh,
think that makes sense. They just have to find a balance to bring in new people, but not all the time, so it doesn't feel like um they don't have like stable hands, on the team. Yeah.
uh,
Yep. Go on, please.
No, no, I was just saying, yeah, again, it's like nothing is a silver bullet. So, I agree to, yes, they don't have a stable. If people keep on rotating, maybe
Hmm.
yes, don't have stable people, but it's also a boon in disguise, because a new perspective is coming over. You
Yeah.
might not thought, because if some people are working for a very long time together, right? It's obviously it is a very comfortable position to be in, and the teams think in one way and they go like uh, at a rocket speed. But then
Yeah.
sometimes they are going to have a blind spot altogether, like they all cannot see that. So
Yeah.
if new people keep coming in and there are some rotations happening, I think those blind spots will be checked better.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. They get unbiased feedback from like new, fresh eyes.
Eyes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
that's what.
yeah, that's a great suggestion. Thanks. So, MongoDB and APAC. How was it like being a developer advocate or managing DevRel? I can't remember what your job title was, but being a developer advocate for a region, not a country, right? Because most developer advocates are like developer advocates for the product, and it's like global, anywhere. They have a
Right.
global community. Some
Right.
have, developer advocates, and it's just scoped to a country where they operate. How is it like for like Asia Pacific? And I know it's a very diverse region, right?
Right.
Very, very diverse. So how was it?
Okay, so I will be very honest here. So I was doing first India, because when you look at Asia Pacific, India is always the priority. Why? Because India is the largest developer ecosystem. India is the largest producer, is the word they use for software engineers. So
Yeah.
5.5
Okay.
million developers sitting in India. And when I'm saying this, someone from close relative also just like they just enrolled in an engineering course 2 days back.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
definitely much higher than 5.5 million, and India is
Yeah.
going to take over on the GitHub repositories. Also, it is going to leave US far behind, I think, by 2025. If I'm not wrong, I'll
Okay.
check again. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that is where India is becoming the priority if you want to penetrate Asia Pacific. So that is how I was hired as first for Asia Pacific, and then I was only thinking of India, and I was penetrating India. And after India, what we did is, let's target the English speaking regions of Asia Pacific. So that is where
Okay.
Singapore came in, India again, more penetration. Like, we did reach awareness engagement. Now let's focus on enablement and adoption. These are the phases of
Mm-hmm.
DevRel.
Yeah.
So and English speaking regions such as Singapore, and then ANZ also was clubbed into Asia Pacific because of the time zone is little better. So
New
that is
Zealand, you
how,
mean?
yeah, Australia and New Zealand.
Okay.
So that is how
Okay.
the team was structured. And going further, obviously, whenever we were trying to plan for the things, there were regions which were non English speaking, but for those, a lot of problems come into picture, especially the localization. For India, you might just need regionalization, like a face familiar speaking in an accent familiar, but
Mm-hmm.
it can definitely serve and solve your purpose. It can do a lot of penetration. But if you really
Mm-hmm.
want to penetrate India, then obviously you need to go to regional languages. But there is not one regional language in India, 22
Okay.
or more.
22.
22 for sure. I think 22 national languages. I will check again on record if
Oh,
I get the.
wow.
There are many, many, many national languages, and then there are other dialects as well. So it's
Okay.
a very huge number, like double digit number of national languages, and then dialects. So it's a long list. So you cannot make
Yeah.
content all of that. It's better to make content in English. Then second thing is Hindi, and then there are southern languages, some of the southern languages. But yes, if the face is relatable, that is why I say regionalization and not localization. When you go to
Mm-hmm.
Japan, South Korea,
Mm-hmm.
or China. China, the story is totally different. I would not even cover.
Okay.
Half of the things are not allowed in China, so it's totally different. Let's say you cannot even use WhatsApp or some other things we use, right?
Hmm.
Globally. We have to use
Yeah.
different things such as WeChat. So China, I won't even comment, and some of the clouds are also not operative. But South
Okay.
Korea, Japan, then there are other countries such as Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia,
Mm-hmm.
where sometimes they can understand English, but they might need subtitles. But some
Yeah.
countries, South Korea, Japan, they are like pro localized content only works. Or Japan is even different, anime, or there are different terminologies which I might not be able to pronounce here. But yes,
Okay.
a lot of anime which works in Japan, and a lot of the events also, whenever they are community events also, people wear faces and people like to wear a name. The comics also are, even you do tech content, it's like in comic forms and anime.
Really?
Yes, yes, yes. So and
In
they have,
Japan?
yes, if you see videos from Atsushi, who is a famous devil from Japan, he has listed all the ways, and if you see one thing in common, that is anime. So everyone
Wow.
loves animated stuff in Japan, and even
Yeah.
community and content is somewhere or the other. They are using animations there, and
Yeah.
so coming back, because of the percentages of the business, if you list down by the priorities, again, India and English
Mm-hmm.
speaking regions in Asia Pacific easier to penetrate and understand.
Yeah.
And then you need to go, then you start with these. So by the time I was just doing English speaking, and I was also listening to a few things about, okay, these are the localized regions, and okay, we need to
Yeah.
do stuff like these. So uh, simpler things which people could do, they can
Mm-hmm.
just use generative AI and translate the content to another language. But it doesn't work, because see, the way I am speaking, my gestures and my accent, or my regional slang, is very different from someone who is born in those regions, or if someone
Yeah.
is born in US or UK. So something which is like not offensive or respectful for me could be offensive for them. So that's why
Yeah.
we cannot trust generative AI to just blindly translate everything I say.
Uh-huh. Oh.
That's where I think it won't work, and it's better to, especially for the localized countries, it's better to get
Yeah.
one or several each. And that's why I don't say devrel squad is ready to penetrate Asia Pacific. I only say India.
Yeah. Wow. That's I, I've always said I want to go to the region, but now I feel like I need to plan properly and like really think about it and think about where. And
one one step
it's
at a
that,
time.
yeah,
One step at a time.
that's interesting to think that even India has like, diverse regions that,
Yes.
there isn't a lot of overlap, talk
No.
less of the rest of Asia Pacific. Something I'm curious about with DevRel in India. You said India is a really large market, 5 point something million developers and counting, growing. I bet someone just signed up to bootcamp today.
Right.
Um, while that number is large, with developer advocacy and enablement, obviously product companies and SaaS businesses they look at revenue in the long run, right?
Right. Right.
Um, any thought that isn't towards revenue is usually considered like a CSR project, like a corporate social responsibility project. So,
Yes.
how
Yes.
how did you approach going beyond engagement to conversion, right? And how do you see the purchasing power of these developers? So, if you were going to estimate, because I do know a couple of founders that have a lot of users from India, very enthusiastic, engaging in the community, but they are tinkering around how can we get these developers and these members of our community to actually maybe pay for value? Do we need to approach it in one way or another? What are your thoughts on that? Probably what has worked.
Okay, so again, I don't have a very straightforward answer to this question. So when I
Yeah.
started my business, I know that even I will not talk about purchase parity. That is definitely
Hmm.
there. Mostly, many Indians are rich nowadays, but I would I would still say that as Indians, what I have figured out, and even I think it's there in me as well. So we try to save money and we try to really see if there is value for money, then only we'll pay. So I'll not say we are misers, but maybe a little bit of frugal mindset is there in
Hmm.
Indians by birth, like that, like we are born with it. That is what I feel. However, I
Okay.
could be wrong. Obviously five fingers are not equal, but when I went out as a developer advocate first time, I was actually shivering because I had spoken in school and college on stage, and then I was
Hmm.
like, I spoke at my time at Microsoft. I spoke on the stage for the engineering days and other events
Yeah.
internally. So I was knowing the audience. So first time when I stepped out for an event, or like I was doing a meetup uh, in a partnership with Orcus. Yeah, partnerships is
Hmm.
something which I really love. So I do a lot of partnerships. And Orcus approached, and they were like, so not Orcus, but DevRel from Orcus approached, and they were like,
Hmm.
would we like to partner? We sponsor the venue, you take care of the food. And I was like, I asked internally, whoever the decision maker at that time for me was,
Yeah.
because I was really new, and I was shivering, and I went and we delivered the session, and it was good. So at that point of time, I was only thinking, and somehow my leadership was very, very supportive. So they also
Hmm.
told me, don't think about anything, don't think about any metrics, just go ahead, enjoy yourself, and treat everyone the same way, with respect, because people will not remember what you said, but people will remember how you made them feel.
Thank
And
you.
that is the
Yeah.
only principle I had in my mind, and I just went and I just kept meeting people, kept doing events, and in a few days, I think few months, not days, few months, we were approached by other partners like, do you want to do a partnership with us? So we did some events with AWS, then Google, then Microsoft. Like we did one successful event with one, and another approach. And so till then we were doing only reach awareness and engagement. We were not thinking of many
Okay.
methods. However, since our events got popular one by one, so we were getting a lot of registration, and we were filtering out a little bit, that okay, we can invite more professional audiences. And
Okay.
then seeing that okay, these are unique companies or accounts which are coming to our
Hmm.
events. And then we also used to refine our content, like we'll make something like workshops. Docusaurus is what I really like. And we made those kind of workshops, and then that is where we focused. And after
Mm-hmm.
that, we're like, okay, let's go and do more focused workshops, like hands-on workshops, instead of just doing the live demos. From live demos we moved to hands-on workshops, and then we started going to more and more. So again, this is something where other orgs will come in and they will help you identify. So I would say that metrics is a devrel is not dev cell, and metrics are a little haywire for reach and awareness. But yes, UTM metrics, like who has clicked your tech content, those kind of things can happen. And then a few campaigns can be tied to again some videos. So that is how you can measure the impact. And obviously the turn up, the number of attendees, and then in that number of attendees, if you are recording a feedback, so you know that okay, are people liking it, are people getting retained, or what kind of
Yeah.
quality are getting to the event. So that, so long story short, again, so I never thought of who will be ready to pay. Intention was always that just if someone is asking me some question about my product, and I really used to love my
Mm-hmm.
product, so I my
Yeah.
intention was to share my love with my product. And because I was doing so many things for 10 to 12 years or 13 years, and I was like, oh my god, what I was doing all my life, this product made my life so simple. And I used to tell the same thing, be it a college student or a professional. If you would say, Mega, then how would you do the priority? But if someone walks up to me and they really want to know, I used to tell them. And you know what, I have found people who were in second year of their engineering, like second year of their
Mm-hmm.
university, and they were having a startup. And I also were approached by someone who was very senior, and then I found out they are like director in a company. Later on, when they pinged me on LinkedIn, that I really understood vector search. So,
Mm-hmm.
and even with DevRelSquad, someone has reached me out, and they are still with me as a probable client, that they saw my
Yeah.
session on vector search on some platform. I don't want to name it, but they really
Yeah.
liked it and approached me. So
That's amazing. That's really cool. I mean, as you say, um, attribution is difficult, right? Especially with developer relations and considering the fact that there are different parts to it. That's what the
yeah,
content community tracking. I feel like anyone that's able to crack attribution for
no,
developer
it's
relations, if they can, however they can, they will win because a lot of teams want that before or during the zero interest rate phenomena era. Teams were fine with spending money, right? No one needed like the CFO's opinion
right,
after
right, right,
once the budget is approved. But these days, everyone has to talk to the CFO. We see the same at Hack Mamba. Previously when we sold, we're like, this, we know this. We don't have to like. It's sort of like unspoken reason. We just go ahead and we do stuff, and hopefully it works. But these days, we need to clearly articulate what value we're adding to the organization, even though it's still like a DevRel effort. We're talking about developer trust. And the CFO is like, so developer trust, how can we prove this? How do we know after 6 months that we've done this? Especially because they have other acquisition channels, they have other engagement channels, and you're saying that you want to do this specifically for developer relations and you want to see it move the needle. So that part definitely is is difficult.
absolutely. It is for the, especially for the when you say attribution and reach awareness. For I don't know much metrics for reach awareness apart from the numbers. But yes, once you
Yeah.
reach the engagement and enablement stages, there are metrics. And one thing definitely we can fix is a lot of data generated from devrel is on the mails or on the documents. If we can consume that data, and we can generate some we can do introspection on that, we can generate
Hmm.
retrospective insights or graphs or analytics. That is where I think the situation of devrel can change, and that is where my product in stealth lies a little bit towards the metrics, because I was
Yeah.
always thinking about spreading the love and stuff, and then I thought, okay, I will have to think about the metrics for other orgs because they feel devrel is
Yeah.
dev. And however, devrel is a high risk high reward thing. You have to
Yeah.
invest on it, and then sometime later you will have the returns, you might not have the returns as well. So that
Hmm.
is where and it was not started uh, 5 years back. It was started in the 80s by Microsoft and Apple. So they
Yeah.
saw a lot
Of value. Yeah.
value in it.
Yeah.
So it's just that the role name changed from evangelist to tech evangelist to devrel, and then dev advocate and community management got separated, something like that. But
Yeah.
yes, metrics are important, as you said. How do we move the needle? So I was faced by similar questions from my other sister orgs, and that's where
Yeah.
I thought maybe
Yeah.
that tool can help.
Yeah. So I guess we talk about your product. Is this DevRel Squad? What is DevRel Squad? Can you tell us about it?
Okay, so Devrel Squad is something similar. Like, I would like you to tell about Hack Mamba first, and then I'll follow your lead.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm putting
great.
you on stop. Spot.
Yeah, that's fine. So Hack Mamba, basically, in a nutshell, we work with product and marketing teams to create content for developers. It's either to acquire developers or enable those developers. That's basically what Hack Mamba does. We focus on written content at the moment, but our goal, hopefully, in future, is to expand this to, cover full suite of either managing developer acquisition channels or enablement channels. So
That's
that's what Hackmamba does.
awesome. And you have a product as well, if I am not wrong.
No, we're purely a service. We're a group of
Okay,
like really around 45, 46 great people, from authors to editors, designers, managers, SEO experts on the team that basically just passionately create content, documentation writers. We work with a lot of partners. So we work with partners to create videos and other forms of content. We care about the objective. We care about either marketing outcomes or product outcomes, and we just do whatever it takes to get there. That's uh, that's sort of our ethos at the moment. Is um, we don't. I mean, we are our core strengths lie in creating written content, but whatever it takes to help our partner be successful, that's what we do. If it's written
got it.
content, if it's helping with strategy, distributing the content, we're totally fine with contributing to those. Yeah.
Sure. Awesome. So, Devil Squad is definitely, we have a little overlap, but we are
Mhm.
still learning and starting up. So, Devil Squad is something where we thought Devrel as a consulting, so developer relations
Mhm.
as a consulting, and SaaS and PaaS companies or tech startups who cannot afford to have a Devrel in house, because
Mhm.
if you hire someone, let's say, even if they hire, US is, the costs are any which ways higher, and if they hire someone in
Mhm.
India, then also they have to give them a good pay package, and give them stocks, and then that person will travel. Like for me, I was traveling. Sometimes I used to travel 3 cities in 1 week. So 3 cities in India in 1 week, and I used to take
Wow.
flights from the cities. It is not like a small country, so we have to take flights from.
Yeah.
So and that was my own wish. I used to plan my work, and I like traveling, but not everyone could do
Mhm.
that much. So that's why, if I thought,
Mhm.
if we have a network across India, let's say we are doing some Devrel Squad meetups already. 3rd August we have Delhi and Chennai. So I am
Mhm.
not going to travel. Delhi, I have a freelancer team. I don't have a big team
Mhm.
as you right now, but I have a lot of people who are associated as community or as freelancers with
Mhm.
me. So I have chapter leaders in 13 cities of India and Singapore. So let's say if we
Yeah.
are doing something in Delhi and Chennai on 3rd August, so they will take care. I am not going to travel. And then
Yeah.
after that, we have Kolkata on 10th August, Hyderabad on 24th August, Mumbai, Pune on 31st August. Pune already live. Registrations are open. Hyderabad CFP is
Yeah.
live. Bangalore and Mumbai also will be announced soon. And then we have other 3 cities, Dehradun, where Akshat is
Yeah.
from. And
Akshat is, yeah.
Akshat will do that for us. And,
Yeah.
associate, there are other associated members as well sitting in
Yeah.
our community. We sponsor the food and we send the swag. So that is one of the dreams I had, that if let's say someone wants to do meetups across India at the same time, it can
Okay.
happen. But it can happen once you have that kind of passionate community. What if
Yeah.
Devrel Squad or something has a
Yeah.
passionate community community already sitting, and you just tell us, and within 10 days we'll get your meetups done.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
that is where the
That's
idea came in
yeah.
from, and it was mostly
Huh.
about meetups and community. But yes, community engagement, tech content are few things where
Yeah.
we earn to support the business, but main idea was having the passionate community well set up
Hmm.
across India, and then leveraging it for different clients
Yeah.
or SaaS. So that's where Devil
Yeah.
Squad came in, and just ending my answer with one thing. Then I realized I have to do something for the metrics, as you were mentioning. So I thought
Yeah.
maybe I can build a tool which can try to get me some more metrics from whatever I built as a DevRel or developer advocate.
Yeah.
Whenever I write something after my meetup or trip report or these kind of feedback sitting in the Google Forms or documents or mails, can I do something out of it?
Yeah.
So that is
That's
where we
that's
built something.
that's fantastic. I think it's a very valuable problem you're solving with scaling communities. Because I remember in the past, I used to be a program manager for a company called Andela, and we would have these similar, like, would have a program where we need to coordinate meetups across Africa in one weekend, and it was
Oh,
crazy. Yes. So
yes.
on a Saturday, for instance, across Nigeria, we would have anywhere from 30 to 40 meetups with different facilitators and members and attendees and media and all
Right.
that stuff. And it was definitely a lot of work. But something we definitely didn't do was figure out if the meetups are successful or not. We just had these meetups, and a picture from the meetup was enough. But then, what other value could have been gotten from those meetups? What happened there? That's something, at least then, we didn't care about, because it just felt like a lot of work for so little value, right? But if there's some way to do this automatically where everyone dumps all their data into one pool and something synthesizes this, which is what I think you're probably working towards, I feel like that would be great. And also, that would
Thank
be
you.
great not just to understand the meetups that are completed, but what's to come next. And CFOs can readily path with money and be like, hey, let's do this again, because here's the transformation, here's proven transformation from this event. So definitely that's a wonderful idea. So the goal is to scale DevRel Squad outside India, right? Or
No,
just in India? Why
just
just in India?
because I know that India has a lot of potential, and if I do
Hmm.
India right, I don't want to. Uh, Earlier, I was always greedy that I want to do India and more, but now I'm thinking totally
Yeah.
opposite. I want to
Okay.
just penetrate India right,
Yeah. That's
because
that's
as
cool. So yeah,
yeah, I
sorry,
just,
go on.
sorry to cut you, but you were yourself saying when you said you are solving a very valuable problem. We used to get just the photos from the meetups. Maybe in my pilot or one or two meetups, I'll just get photos or some feedback forms. But
Hmm.
until unless I really get that value that anyone would spend on them, I have
Yeah.
to keep proving them. So until
Yeah.
unless I penetrate India right, I'm not going to, diversify. I might diversify in other avenues within India itself, maybe creating
Hmm.
more awareness about DevRel or
Yeah.
other avenues. I could see some,
Yeah.
but yeah, at the moment, not very sure to share them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
penetrating India is the key, and maybe next, if I survive next 2 to 3 years, I am going to India and India only.
Yeah, definitely you will do that. I mean, I think about India, and it's what, over a billion people. So there's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
the numbers over there. And I know we talked about regionalization previously and localization, but
yes.
what you feel is the biggest game changer to cracking communities in India? Because I know a lot of people still struggle with that.
Okay, I think for me the game changer. Okay, when I was thinking about the startup, and 1 month down, I had another insights and another. Oh my god! Okay, those
Hmm.
kind of my aha moments. So I noticed that there are very few companies which have, like, there are a lot of companies which have their development centers in India or global capability centers in India, but they don't have
Mm-hmm.
their devrel in India. They have devrel in US and UK. So one thing is creating more and more jobs in this
Mm-hmm.
devrel side in India, just like you
Mm-hmm.
had.
Yeah.
So if we can do that, then a lot of people get interested into the community, and in those lots of people, we definitely find our valuable, targeted audience. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm thinking could be a game changer if a lot of companies either they hire directly or they come through us. A lot of opportunities, full time freelancer originates in the community space, and
Mm-hmm.
events get better and better, and then they start getting measurable. They start getting us the insights, and people
Mm-hmm.
start spending on that. So it's like, this could be a game changer. And since when
Yeah.
people are, one thing is passion. I don't deny communities run by passion, but if there is a little bit of,
Mm-hmm.
side hustle element involved, or freelancing effort which can earn you money
Yeah.
as well, that could be a game changer for Indian communities. That is how I perceive it. It's a little bit is data based and little bit is
Mm-hmm.
intuition based. So I cannot. It's a hypothesis
Yeah.
at the moment, but I have to try it
Okay.
out. I'll
Yeah.
try it out.
That's great. Thanks. And what would you say is the biggest challenge anyone would face, or something you faced, right? And you're like, oh, do not do this, right? If you're trying to go at Asia Pacific and India.
Okay, so one of the challenges or failures I have faced very recently is I was trying to partner with a community because I'm so go and gaga about partnerships, because it's like, okay, I
Yeah.
student swag, but who will get the passion? Existing
Hmm.
communities. So
Yeah.
if you're partnering with any existing communities, you should definitely sign a memorandum of understanding, because
Hmm.
sometimes, it's very hard. A lot of community founders are young children, and it's very hard to
Yeah.
get something done from them until unless you have it in written. So proper
Yeah.
deliverable written, and signed, and understood, and then only go ahead with the partnerships, even if it is with communities. Or so that
Uh-huh.
is one lesson I learned, and then thankfully I learned it now, because if I would have learned it a little later, because when
Hmm.
we were doing as part of my job, I was doing those partnerships, right? Maybe some MOU or some agreements already signed at the top, so I never thought
Yeah.
about that, and it was never needed. But when I'm acting as a company and partnering with any community, I am signing MOU with each, even if the decision maker is one, just like Akshat is
Mhm.
shared between us, or
Yeah.
like he's passionately involved here and he's doing work with you. He's
Yeah.
not for me. But let's say if some community A is going to partner with us, and our chapter lead is
Hmm.
also their decision maker or their lead, I am saying it's okay. You sign from both sides. I don't care, but you sign.
Yeah. Okay. That's that's fun. That's something I definitely didn't know. I think that's very valuable because elsewhere, at least I think I take people's word. It's like if someone says they're going to do something, I'm like, okay, I trust you. Yes, you will, and that's it. I'm like,
It's like a lot of confusion happens at times, because
yeah,
language is, as I told you, India is a vast country, and someone sitting in the north. However, I'm born and brought up north, but since I've stayed so much in south, so because of so many languages and dialects, sometimes confusions happen. So
yeah,
it's better to give everything in writing in clear words in English,
yeah.
and get everything signed.
Ah, I see. Wow, thank you so much. I see we're coming up on time. Do you have any last words aside anyone wanting to expand communities in India talking to you about DevRelSquad definitely and how you can help them? Any other thing you want to add or even buttress on that?
Yeah, so I think I'm just going along the way and experimenting a few bits here and there, and having my learnings and failures. I
Hmm.
really like talking, and that is why I was like, as a devrel or developer advocate, live engagement was my forte. So I have spoken a lot today, given you lesser chance to speak. So I would like to hear from you in the end, like what
Hmm.
is your thought and what are the key takeaways from today's podcast as per you.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I think the key takeaway from all this is I don't know as much of the region as I thought I did, right? I know India is over 1 billion people. It has to be diverse. I come from a very diverse country as well. But I didn't expect diversity to be even in tech, or at least that diverse. Because normally with tech, we're all united by English. We're
Yeah.
all united by whatever Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon says it is, right? um, but in this case, it's different. And also, I think I started thinking a bit more about metrics. I think about it with content. I've forgotten about it. Like lately, I've just been heads down on delivering value, and putting metrics aside. But I think it's something that we need to think about critically. Yeah. Aside that, talking to you, I think that's also very fun. I've had so much fun on this stream as well. So
Thank
that's
you.
also another takeaway for me.
Thank you, William. Thank you. And same here. I really enjoyed talking my heart out, and I did not think before I speak. I just said whatever was on top of my mind, as I had told you earlier. So yeah, I
Yeah,
enjoyed a lot. Thank you
that's
so much.
the that's the point of this stream. We just chat. I know this is your Twitter handle. Gonna put it on the screen. Just a second. I have it in the chat here.
Thank you.
Mm, yeah, so I put it in the chat. I'm gonna put it. Let me see. I'm trying to paste this on the screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is it, right?
Yes, this is my handle
Okay.
all over. So it's
Mhm.
on X, it's on Instagram, and even LinkedIn. If you search linkedin.com/in/devrel Mega, you'll get my profile.
Okay. So if anyone has any further questions, or they want to learn about communities, or just talk about maybe about her experience from Apple to Microsoft, Samsung, MongoDB, please reach out on X or LinkedIn or wherever. Yeah. And yeah, we call it a wonderful day then. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.